Welcome to Night's Arcade. I'm Sleepless Night. We are back in Hardspace Shipbreaker because I want to update you on the latest update which dropped today, which was 0.5.0. Well, I mean, I say dropped today. Dropped today for me. I'm recording this on the day the update released. Hopefully you'll get it the next day. But now we're going to do this in a bit of a strange order. So I'm going to kind of do this in a backwards order. The reason for that is I've been like extremely busy with real work the last week, and I've just gone back on stream for the first time in a week, and I've actually been, my wife and I, we've done a song for the Shipbreaker, Hardspace Shipbreaker lyrics contest. So if you want to check that out, I'll put it on a card. I'll put it on the end of the screen as well, but I'll put a little link to the thing. So my wife wrote a song. With the competition idea was to write lyrics for one of the existing tunes in the Shipbreaker, in the already amazing Shipbreaker soundtrack. So my wife actually wrote lyrics for it. And then she wanted me to sing it, so I did, and she sang along with me in the little comms bits in between, but I'll put a link for that. So I've been busy with all sorts of things, and I was actually a little bit unprepared, I'm going to be quite honest, for just how quickly, after their announcement, how quickly this update dropped. So I was announced yesterday from where I'm recording this, and then it came out today. So was it yesterday or the day before? But anyway, it came out quite quickly and I wasn't really prepared. So first thing I'm going to do, I captured a little bit of video of me going around an early level Javelin, because you can't really get the same look in free play, because we'll start at the bottom, the Javelin Improvements. So the things they've got listed on improvements to the Javelin are that Javelin rings on lower difficulties are now salvaged more easily. Now, I'm going to be perfectly honest with you, I haven't noticed that. I've been into free play, but, you know, assume that since it says lower difficulty and on free play, you know, you really get the higher sort of level stuff on free play because you get the whole gamut of tools. You get the entire toolbox. So I went into my career and I went into an early Javelin. Like, I think the first level you can get them in is level 4. I think it's level 3 or 4. I can't remember. But I went and checked out a couple and I couldn't honestly tell the difference. But, you know, maybe those that do the race will be able to. We'll see. We'll come to the race in a moment, by the way. Apparently there's an overall reduced number of cut points on Javelins. Now, I did notice... I never went around counting cut points because, you know, if you follow my channel for a while, you'll know that I did used to do the weekly race, but I actually stopped a while ago. You know, I got bogged down with other things and there were other reasons, but, you know, so I stopped doing the weekly race, but I used to do it regularly. Maybe I'll go back to doing it in the future, I don't know. So maybe the racers will notice. Maybe if I was racing mainly on the Javelins, I would have noticed more. But I didn't go around counting them, but I did notice they do seem to have fewer cut points. In other words, if you go inside particularly one of the early level fuel Javelins now, I noticed it was quite quick to tear them apart, to tear all the nanocarbon panels off and the shielding and all those sort of things. That was all much faster now than it used to be. But, you know, how exactly which cut points have cut out, I'm not entirely certain, you know, because I've gone right back to the beginning as everybody else has with the last update. Simplified the way Javelin cockpits are salvaged and removed hidden cut points. This I did notice, because if you're familiar with the Javelin cockpits before, they had that tricky little... You know, when you cut away the cut points in the inside of a Javelin cockpit, they had that tricky little sort of interlocking Chinese boxy kind of almost thing where they would come apart in these interlocking sections, which sometimes made it a little bit difficult. So they've tried to simplify it now so that you're not... The goal behind it, supposedly, is that you're not salvaging, you know, furnace stuff with processor stuff and barge stuff and stuff like that, so it separates the component parts out, and that is noticeable. I did see that. The aero bridge is now more intuitive to salvage, apparently. The ECU wall on the bigger Javelins is now furnace salvageable, according to this. The cockpit frame is now also furnace salvage to avoid mixing salvage materials. So that goes back to what I was saying before about how they've simplified the way the Javelin cockpits are salvaged and they've removed hidden cut points. The reduced mass and number of cargo containers which is great, because on the really, really big cargo javelins, oh man, that could take forever to strip those of all the cargo containers. And, I love this game like everybody else, but that job really did get kind of tedious, because they're all on the outside. It's not like salvaging the inside of a heavy cargo gecko or something like that. They've got the salvage containers in there, but you can strip everything else away and do them in more sort of an order. But on the javelins, it kind of got tedious, I always thought. Bulkhead is now furnace salvageable, apparently. Connector scaffolding chassis was simplified to make cutting it out more intuitive. Yes, sort of. It's more intuitive now, as they say, as to where you've got to cut to sort of get those things away. But, once you get used to these, the sort of flow of the thing anyway. And then several smaller quality of life improvements, of course, and the usual bug fixes and things. One of the main things they've fixed this time, by the way, is a crash that's been persistent pretty much since day one. It's gotten better and worse and better and worse over the last year, but it's a major crash when throwing large complex structures into the furnace. I'm sure that we are all familiar with that. And they've supposedly gotten rid of that now, but we'll see how that works out. Now we're going to skip over a couple here and come back to them later because they're a bit out of order and I've got the Shipbreaker screen in front of me here. So the first thing I want to show you is one of the things they've done now is now it looks like they've just renamed the race, but that isn't all they've done. Now the weekly race has been renamed to the Cutters Challenge and players can now engage in racing on a daily new ship instead of a weekly one. So the weekly race has become a daily race now. And they do say they're interested in player feedback for this challenge. I haven't tried this yet, but as you can see there, look, this is the first day that it's dropped, and there are only 15 hours and 8 minutes remaining. So the Salvage Runner Gecko is today's one. So there's a new one of these every day. There you go. Look, you've got all the usual suspects marking the top of the list there. There's Clowns, bless him. So yeah, but I actually don't see these guys very often now that I don't do the race anymore, but it's the same sort of the usual suspects that were always there in the beginning. And the main thing about this update, which is hence the cheesy nickname for it, Pretty Rad, is that if we go into free play, we'll come back to career in a bit and I'll explain why, right? But we'll go into free play to see if we can get one of these. So there is now radiation. Now, whether or not we'll get it on this ship, I don't know. But let's go and check out. So what we're looking for is this new radiation element that they have added. Right? Let's see. Let's wait for everything to boot up there. Let's see if we can see it. So if we can see one. There's the airlock on that side. Systems. Yes, so here, inside the ship now, is the radiation element. So this is what it looks like on your scanner. It's going to look like a big yellow circle because there is a cut point, a single one. You don't have to cut it off in sections. There's a single cut point that surrounds it. So you can see that. On your systems panel, it glows in the same way that your reactor does. So that's what that looks like. And of course, in objects, it's difficult to discern from any of the other objects, really. So that one's a bit useless. But let's go inside, and I'll show you what we're looking at with this new hazardous element. And boy, is it hazardous. I really hope that we've got... I hope the regulator's working on this thing. It's not busted. I don't have to vent these because venting is going to push the ship off kilter, as I'm sure you know. Oh no, it's working. Oh cool, thank God for that. Right, there we go. So the regulator's working. So we're good. Right, so now, the first thing I'm going to do is cut out this floor, because I want... Believe me when I tell you, you're going to want to get this out of here quickly. As quickly as you can. Right, so let's do that. Just throw that into the thing there. Oops, you have light back on. So this is what you're looking at. Right, can you see the little faint haze there coming off it in like a whoosh? There you go, look. Okay, now if you get up close to this, you might sometimes... Oh. Do you hear that? Just the tiniest little bit of a Geiger counter click. Now this is just removable with your grapple, so just pull that off. And that's a processor item. So let's just clear it out of the way, because with this thing, you need as few things in the way as you can manage. Okay? So don't worry about your reactor for the minute. So here is the filter, and this is a barge item. So the first thing you have to do is to cut this. Fortunately, this all cuts off in one thing, right? So there you go. The whole thing's gone, and then the filter is free. Okay? So let's get it pulling out there. Now, where this becomes really hazardous is if it gets knocked or bumped, right? So before I do this, I want to see if I've got any coolant. If I haven't, I've got some video of me doing this, right? So if I can't find any coolant, I do actually have some video of me doing this already, so that I know that it works. Right, so I've dragged the coolant tank out. Now, this is a coolant tank with an AI node, so that's not ideal, but it's not really, shouldn't make any difference for the purposes of this demonstration. So, with the radiation filter, you're going to be okay for the most part, unless it gets bumped. And the slightest bump is going to cause this thing to emit. Boom. Oh, I say the slightest bump, and then look what happens. There you go, look. See now? Right, that's where your hazard comes in. Okay, so that's a cloud of radiation, which gets worse if you do this. Okay, so now you've turned it into a super hazard. And you really need to avoid doing that, but if you do, one of the only ways to deal with it is with coolant. There you go. So that's not really what you want. Ship's going to blow now, because I've ruptured the thing. But do you see how the radiation has dissipated now? Right, so you see the radiation's gone. So, you know, I've shown you just basically what that is all about. You create a radiation cloud when you bump it, and it can be neutralized with cryogenic elements. Now, I'm going to show you a couple of things now that I don't care for. So, one of the things you'll notice when you go into Korea, which we'll do now, is you will notice that they have completely changed the HAB user interface. Now, I'm not really a fan of this, per se, because you can no longer see the habitation unit in the background, and now it's just a screen. So when you go to the hab, you just got a screen. But the silver lining is that they have mentioned that they're doing this so that it will tie in with further updates they have within the habitation unit. By which we assume that they mean the 3D habitation unit they mentioned before will be coming, at which point your Shipbreaker terminal, your cutter's terminal, will just be part of that habitation unit. So presumably you'll be able to walk around the 3D hab, and I don't know whether this will all be on one terminal as it is now, or whether it'll be in different places. So like your equipment, you'll go to maybe your equipment rack or something like that, or your equipment screen, or it will all be on one habitation terminal, and I'm assuming you'll be able to update it. However, the exciting news is that when you go and look at their roadmap now, with the last large update, the 3D Shipbreaker habitation unit was in other planned updates at the bottom of the list. No longer. It has now moved up the list, and it is now in the pretty blue exciting box named Coming Soon. So the following will be added in our upcoming updates. 3D hab location to visit between shifts. That is actually one of the things I'm most excited about. Call me an idiot, I don't care, whatever names you like. I'm really excited about the fact, the level of immersion that it will add to presumably be able to walk around. I don't know. Now, whether you'll be able to walk around inside the hab or not, I'm not sure, or it will just be a 3D thing that you can look at and highlight things in there with like your mouse or the cursor, or your controller or things like that. So maybe it'll just be a 3D space that you can see, but you can't walk around it. You just have to select different items and shelving units and things within that 3D space. I don't know. I'm really hoping it's a 3D space you can walk around in, but we'll see. Act 2 of the campaign is also coming soon, along with the usual bug fixing, quality of life improvements, and performance optimization, which is always welcome. Now, if we go down the bottom of the list to the other planned updates on the roadmap now, one of the things that I know a lot of people are excited about, which is now coming, it just says in other planned updates, but this is one of the first times they've mentioned it, I think, is the saving and loading in progress ships. So a lot of people have wanted this from day one of Hardspace Shipbreaker's early access, because, not everyone can get an entire ship done in a shift. Sometimes they have to go, dinner's ready, I've got to go out to work, I want to jump into the game for 10 minutes, but I don't have enough to do a full shift. And even if you do a full shift on one of the largest ships, between shifts, it'll save, but if you then log out, of course, it would not save. So people have been asking for a long time for the ability to save an in-progress ship. So when you come back, you can just load wherever you were in that ship, and I think that's, it's a very, very welcome addition, as well as an additional class of ship. So people always want new ship classes to work on, and there are those coming up, as well as additional voiceover for audio logs to find in ships. And the full campaign, so Act 2 is coming soon now. It's in the nice, pretty blue coming soon books. And the full campaign of 30 hours in total is in future updates planned. Other features and improvements based on the community's feedback and ideas. I love that, and I can't wait to see what they've implemented or altered based on, the community feedback and suggestions. But there you go. So, your equipment's much the same as it was, really, before. Nothing's changed there. You got this new data recovery screen. You see how it says unverified application? Now, obviously, it says I'm guessing it says unverified application because this is not something you're supposed to do. If you've gone through the story, you'll have covered the bit where they say you can recover data drives the same way that we used to be able to before, but it's frowned upon. We're not really supposed to do that. So this application that does that, the data recovery app, is not verified. So it's not approved by Lynx and your employee terminal. But if you look at it now, look. See? A little bit different now. And you open these things, and they're a little bit different than they were before. So they've given it the look of like a really crappy kind of I don't know, an app that might have been some sort of application that might have been made in the 80s by somebody, or the 90s, to sort of do something that you weren't supposed to do. I like that. Now, the stickers, they've revamped the stickers so that this whole menu is a little bit... well, they say it's easier to navigate, and that is true. The flow of actually applying... Let's find one that we've actually got. Here we go, look. Here's one. So there. So now... Oh, I don't have that one. I thought I did. Okay, that's weird. Oh, we got one of these. We got another... Let's look as if we're going to put another safety third one. So, that works pretty much the same as it did before, but it does flow better. It's not as convoluted as it was before. In my opinion, at least. But the other thing they've done is apparently now, once you collect enough stickers, you can get a sticker upgrade, which is really weird. And what they mean by that is the stickers will become holographic stickers. I don't have that many of any one sticker. Since the recent update, the last big update, I don't have that many of them. So I haven't worked that far through the career again yet, just because I've been really super busy with other things. But so they're the main sort of things that you can look at there. But that's it, that's pretty much what they've done now. The main thing, as I said before, is the radiation filter, and I kind of like that. So, I will keep you advised on other updates as and when I get information about them. Most of the time I get information about them at the same rate that you do, but, if you're not joining Shipbreaker yet, but you're keeping tabs on it, or maybe you don't play it as often as you used to, or you don't play it as often as me, and certainly not as often as some of the other guys, then maybe, these are the kind of videos that you look for. Or maybe you are not a PC player and you're just waiting for it to come to console, but you're interested in the game, so you keep following this. As soon as we have a console release date, I will let you know. I do get questions about this. As soon as there's a console release date, as soon as I know it, you'll know it. Okay, I'll post an update as soon as I can whenever they release it. But I'm guessing there will be no news on a console release until they have released the game in full on PC. And so far, we have no information as to when that is going to be either. So as soon as I know either of those things, I'll let you know. But that's it for this update, apart from the usual bug fixes and things, of which there is a laundry list, so you can go check that out yourself on the Steam page if you like. Until the next time I see you, you can check me out on all the usual places: Twitter, Facebook. You can join my community over in the Knights Arcade Discord channel. You can follow me on Patreon. You can do all of those things, but if you don't want to do any of them, just leave a like, subscribe. If you want to see more videos from me in the future, leave a comment. Tell me what you think. Leave a comment with any questions you've got or anything like that. I love those comments. But until next time, from Knights Arcade, this is Sleepless Night saying nighty-night.